There is something almost magical about the way Three's Company can take one tiny moment of insecurity and turn it into a full apartment-wide emotional domino effect. And the episode I'm thinking about today is one of the best examples of that. It's not about a huge lie or some outrageous situation with disguises or mistaken identities. It's much simpler than that. It's about fear. And more specifically, how one character's fear gets reflected back by everyone else until the whole room is vibrating with anxiety. The situation starts quietly. Jack has been offered a small opportunity at the restaurant where he works. It's not a promotion exactly, more like a chance to take on extra responsibility for a night while the regular manager is away. It should be a good thing, a normal thing, but Jack doesn't react with confidence. He reacts with nerves. He mentions it casually at breakfast, trying to sound relaxed. He says it's no big deal, just a little extra work. But he says it with that tight smile he gets when he's trying to convince himself of something. Immediately picks up on it. Doesn't fully understand what's happening, but she senses tension. And here, where the mirroring begins. Asks a simple question. She wonders if he feels ready for it. It's not criticism, it's concern, but Jack hears doubt. He shrugs it off too quickly. He laughs a little too loudly. He says of course he's ready. Why wouldn't he be ready? And now starts to second-guess her own tone. Did she sound doubtful? Did she accidentally undermine him? Jumps in to reassure him, but her reassurance is so enthusiastic and exaggerated that it accidentally sounds like she's overcompensating. She lists reasons Jack will do great, but the way she says it feels like she's cheering on someone who's about to walk into danger. And now Jack sees their faces. He sees the worry they're trying to hide, and because he sees it, he assumes it's real. That's the brilliance of this episode. No one directly says he can't handle it, but everyone's body language suggests uncertainty. And because Jack is already insecure, he mirrors their expressions. His shoulders tense. His eyes widen slightly. He begins packing without realizing it. Three's Company became so popular in the late 70s and early 80s because it understood this kind of everyday emotional misunderstanding. At that time, audiences were watching young adults figure out independence. The idea of a man living with two women was already unconventional enough to create built-in tension. Add career insecurity on top of that, and suddenly you have a very relatable anxiety wrapped in a sitcom format. Jack's fear starts small. He wonders if he might mess up one order. Then he imagines disappointing his boss. Then he imagines losing his job. Then he imagines having to explain it to and his imagination runs ahead of him, and his face shows every step of that journey. John had this incredible ability to make internal panic visible. He didn't need dialogue. He could stand still and let his eyes dart slightly to the side, and you could see the entire spiral happening. Seeing him unravel becomes more cautious in her speech. She chooses her words carefully, but that carefulness makes her sound nervous. And now Jack thinks she's bracing for failure. Tries to lighten the mood with a joke, but it lands awkwardly because no one is fully relaxed. The fear starts bouncing back and forth. Later, when Mr. drops by unexpectedly, the mirroring gets even funnier. asks about Jack's new responsibility at the restaurant. Jack freezes for half a second, interprets the freeze as guilt or incompetence. He leans in suspiciously. Jack interprets that lean as judgment. So he overcompensates. He stands taller, he speaks faster. He insists everything is under control, but the speed of his explanation makes it sound like he's hiding something. Narrows his eyes, crosses her arms defensively, nods too vigorously. At this point, nobody is reacting to facts. They're reacting to reactions. That's the pattern the episode plays with so beautifully. One raised eyebrow leads to one defensive tone. That defensive tone leads to a concerned glance. That concerned glance leads to a louder reassurance. And before you know it, the room feels like it's about to explode over something that started as a simple opportunity. Physically, the comedy is perfect. Jack tries to demonstrate confidence by practicing managerial gestures in the living room. He pretends to take orders from invisible staff. He points dramatically. He crosses his arms. But halfway through, he second-guesses himself and changes posture mid-gesture. It's awkward and hilarious. Watches from the kitchen doorway, trying not to laugh, but also slightly worried. Imitates his gestures playfully, which only makes him more self-conscious. Stands near the door, nodding slowly in a way that feels deeply unhelpful. Timing is everything here. There are moments where Jack starts a sentence confidently, then pauses as he notices someone's expression. That pause stretches just long enough for the audience to laugh. He recalibrates mid-sentence, changes direction, contradicts himself slightly. It's subtle, but it's brilliant. Why don't they just clear it up? Why doesn't say, "We believe in you"? Why doesn't Jack say, "I'm nervous"? Because that would end the episode in 5 minutes. Three's Company thrives on avoidance. Characters are allergic to direct emotional statements. They prefer implication, guessing, reacting. That avoidance is what allows fear to mirror and multiply. There's a scene at the restaurant later where Jack tries so hard to look competent that he becomes stiff. He gives instructions too sharply. His staff, sensing tension, become tense themselves. A waiter drops a tray. Jack flinches dramatically. Customers look over. The anxiety spreads like a wave. It's a perfect demonstration of the theme. Fear doesn't stay contained, it reflects. And yet, what makes it funny instead of sad is the exaggeration and the physicality. When Jack tries to recover from a minor mistake, he moves too quickly, almost slipping. He saves himself at the last second, turning a near fall into a theatrical flourish. The audience laughs because we can see the effort. Eventually visits the restaurant to check on him. She walks in cautiously, trying to project calm. But because she's trying so hard to look calm, she looks worried. Jack sees her expression and assumes disaster is written all over his face. She interrupts. They talk over each other. Arrives a moment later, beaming, and her excessive optimism clashes with their tension in the funniest way. She congratulates him loudly for things that haven't even happened yet. And somewhere in that chaos, Jack realizes something small but important. He sees how everyone is reacting to everyone else. He notices that his own panic is being mirrored back to him. The shift isn't dramatic, it's subtle. His breathing slows, his voice lowers. He gives one clear instruction without second guessing. And the room settles. That's the emotional payoff. Not a grand speech, not a lesson carved in stone, just a slight shift in tone that changes everything. This kind of comedy worked so well in its original era because audiences were navigating similar uncertainties. Career instability, social expectations, changing gender roles. Three's Company wrapped those anxieties in bright colors and laugh tracks, but the emotional core was real. And honestly, it still works today because we still do this. We still mirror each other's fears. Someone hesitates and we interpret it as doubt. Someone overcompensates and we assume something is wrong. The tension spreads silently until someone finally relaxes. Jack Tripper is the perfect center for that kind of comedy because he feels everything loudly, grounds him, amplifies him, misunderstands him. Together, they create this emotional feedback loop that turns simple situations into chaos. When the episode ends, nothing about Jack's life has radically changed. He hasn't transformed into a new person, but he survived his own fear, and the audience has laughed through the entire journey. That's why Three's Company endures. It isn't just about misunderstandings of facts. It's about misunderstandings of feelings, and those are timeless. If you ever find yourself reacting to someone's worried expression with your own worried expression, you're basically living inside a Three's Company episode. And maybe that's why rewatching it feels comforting. It reminds us that most tension is shared, and most of it can be dissolved with a little honesty. If you've got a favorite episode where one character's panic sets everyone else off, I'd love to hear about it. And if it's been a while since you've seen Jack spiral and then recover in the most theatrical way possible, maybe it's time to revisit that apartment again. It's amazing how much comedy you can find in a single raised eyebrow.